Okay, so good morning, everyone. I would like to welcome you all to this collaborative webinar that is hosted by the InEExS project and the BungEES project. I'm pleased that I'm the moderator for today's event, since we will explore how innovative business models can accelerate the energy transition, mainly in buildings. Next slide, please. Thanks. So let me first introduce myself. I'm Katerina Papapostoglou. I'm an electrical and computer engineer from the National Technical University of Athens, and I'm a senior research associate and project manager at the Decision Support Systems Laboratory. And I'm involved in the InEExS project, leading the exploitation and capacity building activities. Next slide, please. Today's joint webinar will focus in two main, let's say, it has two main scopes. The one is to showcase the practical applications and lessons learned from the two projects, from the InEExS and the BungEES project. And of course, to provide a space for exchanging knowledge, ideas that can shape the energy transition. So we will dive into energy efficiency as the cornerstone of the transition, and we will focus on the building sector. We will discuss about innovative business models that have been developed and tested in order to promote the energy efficiency and facilitate the adoption. And we will also present you integrated service offering strategies that will try to overcome market, regulatory, and other barriers. So this agenda, as you can see, is divided into three parts. The first part is dedicated to the business cases of the InEExS project. The second part is dedicated to the BungEES project developments, and the last part is a discussion where you can pose your questions and discuss about any questions that you may have. So we have with us leading experts that will share their experiences and insights from different cases: Germany, Spain, France, Portugal, and Greece. In order to discuss about the European perspective, the challenges and the opportunities that we have. Next slide, please. So some practical information about this webinar. First of all, please be sure that you have your microphone muted, in order to avoid background noise. And if you want to ask questions, we will be more than happy to answer. So please use the chat function in order to pose your questions during the session, or you can also raise your hand and you can be unmuted for your verbal questions. Of course, if you need any technical support, we have with us Roberta D'Angianella from ICP. So you can put your technical questions in the chat. And last but not least, I would like to inform you that this presentation, this webinar is being recorded, and we will share with you the video through the YouTube within the 2 weeks. Let's start. So the first presentation will be held by Stratos Keranidis. Stratos is the co-founder of Domex. It's an innovative startup developing energy management project. He's a computer engineer from the University of Thessaly. He holds a PhD on the design and implementation of resource allocation algorithms for wireless networks and the development of IoT platforms and prototypes, and he's in charge of the company's R&D activities. Stratos, the floor is yours. We cannot hear you.
Good morning. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. So I will start sharing my screen. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So I start with an introduction of the InEExS project, and then we proceed with a more detailed description of the validation phase that is currently running. So in InEExS project, we aim to introduce new smart energy services, and we have the specific objectives of developing business models and contractual schemes for energy service offers. These business models, along with their business cases, are deployed, assessed, and validated through the use of innovative technologies. And finally, we aim to roll out these business cases and replicate the developed smart energy services. So the whole project concept is illustrated in this figure. We start with a bottom-up approach. We selected specific business cases on top of which we identify the key requirements. We review the existing business models and redesign new business models and contracts that make use of the enabling technologies. Then we proceed with the validation of these energy services in the field. We are currently running on this phase, so the in-field validation. And the next phase is related with the rollout of these services, their replication, and the knowledge transfer. So as previously mentioned, we have selected very carefully a set of 4 heterogeneous and very promising business scenarios. The aim is to identify the key requirements of different fields and identify also the energy services that will be developed in each of them. The different business cases span a wide range of energy services like space heating and cooling, e-mobility or building renovation, different sectors, building, transport, and energy, multiple carriers like electricity and natural gas, and also different building infrastructure, like the use of smart devices like smart meters, PV panels, heat pumps, EV chargers, and others. Just to give you an overview of what we are doing here, in business case 1, we develop recommendations for innovative energy contracts with pay-for-performance guarantees. This business case is led by the Berlin Energy Agency. In business case 2, we monitor how we can improve the self-consumption in energy cooperatives. This is run by Enercoop. In business case 3, we offer energy efficiency and flexibility services for smart heating. This is mainly led by Domex and supported by Heron. And finally, in business case 4, we provide smart energy management solutions for EV charging, and this business case is led by Hyven. What is the core of InEExS? InEExS features a blockchain platform that acts as the trusted medium and common source of truth that enables the reporting of key data that are related with energy transactions. So all the business cases are connected through this platform along with their market actors. So we can see that multiple and diverse market actors are engaged in each business case, and they are all simultaneously able to access the verified energy data and also increase the transparency of their transactions. Finally, we also provide smart contractual schemes to increase the trust in energy transactions between the different actors. Next, we proceed with a high-level overview of each business case. So for business case 1, we have different types of participants. So we have a housing cooperative named Charlotte that owns multiple residential buildings. Within our pilot, 5 large residential buildings that also feature PV systems are integrated, and we have engaged 20 tenants of all these apartments to act as our pilot users. BEA also acts as an energy supplier, and they are directly selling power to the tenants, both energy that is generated by the building installed PVs and also green electricity from the grid. In terms of infrastructure, we feature rooftop PVs, digital meters, and EV chargers. And we have different platforms either for monitoring the energy management of the whole building system, We also offer a smartphone application for visualizing consumption and production to tenants, and finally interfaces with external third-party services for monitoring the PV production and also the EV charging infrastructure. The aim that is related with the pay for performance concept is to develop recommendations for flexible energy tariffs that assist end consumers to gather the electricity they need from the PV energy that is produced from the buildings and not from the grid. In terms of the monitoring and verification approach, we collect energy consumption data, PV production data, and also the EV charging demand. We calculate the baseline performance, so the performance of all tenants before the system, like the app and the energy management platform, was introduced, and we calculate the difference in the achieved self-consumption ratio. All these data are visualized to end users, and they are used to verify the improvement on the use of PV energy. Next, I proceed with business case 2. In this case, we aim to improve the self-consumption in energy cooperatives. This is run by Enercoop. Enercoop has a lot of members, and in this pilot, the aim is to release the new infrastructure and developments to the majority of Enercoop members. Each member of the pilot features a smart meter to monitor their real-time energy consumption. They have incorporated a large PV plant, specifically 6 different locations that totally aggregate to 242 kilowatts of battery storage as well. So EV chargers are also incorporated, and the most important part is a smartphone app that is released to all members of the community to visualize the energy billing and performance in terms of self-consumption ratio. Related with the pay for performance, Enercoop provides energy tokens to the community members that are able to improve their self-consumption for using energy produced by the shared PV. In terms of the M&V approach, we collect hourly consumption and production data related with each given household. We calculate the baseline performance in order to compare the performance with the newly introduced system. And the idea is to verify the improvement on the use of P energy, and also to implement smart contracts that can generate energy tokens for end consumers in the cases that they manage to improve their self-consumption. So this is more or less a rewarding system that will be put in place. In business case 3, that is led by Domex, we provide energy efficiency and flexibility services for smart heating. We have a community of 50 end consumers that are equipped with a natural gas boiler or an electrical heat pump. The common infrastructure is that we provide a smart heating controller developed by Domex for monitoring and managing their space heating system. They are also equipped with a Domex smartphone application for remotely managing their system. And we also offer a centralized energy management platform that is used to collect all the data and do all the calculations and reporting. The pay for performance concept behind this business case is related with the energy supplier that needs to calculate the repayment of investment that they initially do to equip all users with the controllers and also install them. And the aim is to, in real time, calculate the repayment based on the achieved energy savings of end use. In terms of the monitoring and verification, we do collect a lot of data, but we report only the hourly space heating demand on the central platform. Based on this hourly space heating demand, we're able to monitor also the baseline performance. I will get back into more details later on this. And we are able to calculate the achieved energy savings. All these data are reported back to the blockchain platform. And through these calculations, the energy supplier is able to calculate the amount of savings that can count against their energy efficiency obligations. For this purpose, we also use smart contracts to calculate the repayment and inform the supplier and also the end consumers in real time. In business case 4, we provide smart energy management for EV charging. We include a lot of users located in Finland, Sweden, and Norway. All these users are equipped with an EV, and Hyven provides their API platform for managing the connection with EVs and their chargers. They also run on the cloud energy management algorithms to shape the demand and steer the demand for EV charging. And finally, all users are equipped with a smartphone application to get detailed insights about their charging process. The pay for performance concept behind this business case is related with the monetization of consumer participation in the flexibility services. So for the MNV, we collect hourly EV charging demand data. We calculate the baseline performance, and based on the difference between the baseline and the actual performance, we calculate the amount of demand that is being steered to provide demand response. The aim is to provide them a much higher level of transparency to the energy supplier based on the EV demand steering that has been achieved. So in terms of verification, we focus a bit more on the example of business case 3. So in business case 3, we aim to quantify the energy savings that can be achieved through smart heating. In our case, the device is installed on day 1, so it is not easy to estimate the amount of the performance in the baseline mode. So in order to achieve this, we follow the guidelines of the IPMVP protocol that provides 4 different options for the baseline estimation. We decided to align with option D because our case does not provide the ability to capture the baseline period performance. So we do simulate the baseline performance based on a calibrated model. In this figure, we visualize the energy consumption related with smart heating over an entire heating season. The blue line illustrates the consumption of the device under the energy efficient mode that is constantly activated. And for specific days that are orchestrated by our controller, we revert back to the baseline mode of operation. So the device for 12 days is operating with the energy efficient mode disabled. In these days, we collect a lot of data related with the performance of the building and the heating system. And as soon as we have collected this training data set, we are able to train a model, through a machine learning approach, in order to simulate the performance of the building under the baseline mode. This model, the machine learning approach, is highly sophisticated. It features also physics-based modeling to estimate the heating dynamics of the given household. And based on this model, we are able to simulate the performance of the entire winter season. So the yellow line illustrates the simulated baseline for a given home. By calculating the difference between these two lines, we are able to estimate the amount of savings that can be achieved through the incorporation of our smart heating service. And the overall aim is to illustrate these verified energy savings to all interested stakeholders. So the first and most important user that is connected with our system is the end consumer. So we do deliver energy efficiency reporting to them through their smartphone app. And finally, all these data are also concentrated in the energy supplier dashboard. So the energy supplier is able to collect in real time data related with the performance of their overall portfolio. So important KPIs that we consider is the real consumption, the amount of energy savings, the energy efficiency improvement, the amount of CO2 emissions reduction, and also the reduction in the end user costs, energy costs, and finally the return on investment for the energy supplier that initially funded the overall system. So that is all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Stratos, for the presentation. I guess that the questions can be posed now, but we will use them for the panel discussion afterwards. So we move directly to the next speaker. It's from InEExS project again. It's Francesca Tucci from Berlin Energy Agency. She has been working as a project manager for climate protection and sustainability in BEA for 1.5 years. And she's responsible for topics such as energy savings, energy efficiency, and education about climate protection. So, Francesca, the floor is yours to present us your business case.
Thank you, Katharina, and hello, everybody from Berlin. So Roberta will change my slides. Yeah, I think the first slide you can skip. It's only the general information about the project, and I want to present the German business case to you. Stratos already have given some overview, so maybe I can go through my presentation a little bit faster. Next slide, please. So our examined object is, as Stratos already introduced, in Berlin. It's run by the real estate company Charlottenburger Baugenossenschaft. The short name is Charlotte. And it's a housing cooperative, and they own 5 buildings in this area. And we are the ESCO, so we have installed some solar panels on the roof in the year 2022, and some EV charging points in the basements. And there are some digital meters which are run by the network operator. And so far, they only read the electricity meters once a year. So the tenants only get like an electricity bill once a year and see how much energy they have used. And so far, they didn't have an idea how much energy is produced by the solar power plants. So next slide, please. So we have installed 5 PV panels on the buildings. They overall have a capacity of 99 kilowatt peak. And in the year 2022, when they got into operation, they produced 88 megawatt hours over the whole year. In the 5 objectives, there are 159 residential units, and 40 of them are our electricity customers. And we could convince 20 of them to participate in the InEExS project. And in 2 of the buildings, there are charging points in the basement. There are at the moment 6 active EV users, and 3 of them also participate. So next slide, please. Our current business model is that the users, they have a tariff which is called Mieterstrom. You can translate it as tenants' electricity. So they pay a fixed tariff for the electricity they consume either from the PV or from the grid. So we do supply the solar power from the roofs, and also like at the more electricity from the grid as needed. So next slide, please. Here you can see the electricity demand in the, it's one example property of the 5 properties. So over the year, you can see that the electricity demand is more or less about 2.2 megawatt hours per month. And as we are in Germany, we only have a lot of sun in the summer months. So in yellow, you can see that in the peak production months, like in June and July, we have a production of the PV plant of around 1.5 megawatt per month. Next slide, please. So here you can see a example for a high productive day. I think it's from May or June from the year 22. So in the lilac line, you see the demand of the apartments during the day, and than the production of the solar plant. So our aim is to enhance the use of the PV electricity during the day for charging the electric vehicles or for using the electricity in the households. At the moment, we charge our clients 39 cents per kilowatt hour for the for the charging of the electric vehicles. And if there's more solar power produced than used during the day, we feed it into the grid, and for this we only get 8 cents per kilowatt hour. So for us also it would be more economic to sell more of the solar electricity during the day. And the fixed tariff for the power use in the apartments is about 30 cents per kilowatt hour at the moment. Next slide, please. So our objective is to measure the electricity production and display it to the tenants via an app in real time. So they can see what happens at the moment, how much electricity they use, and how much electricity is produced by the solar plant. So we want to enhance the direct PV use, and we want to monitor the user behavior and compare it with a baseline. So especially if the electricity consumption changes due to the utilization of the app. And we also use the blockchain to value our data, and we also want to validate the electricity use via tokens. So in the end, we want to develop a new business model with flexible tariffs, which encourage the use of the PV electricity. So there will be a better price for the PV electricity in the end than for the electricity from the grid. Next slide, please. So what we did so far is that we installed digital sensors at the electricity meters. This is the blue thing in the picture. It's from the company EOmeter, and it transfers the data live in to the Zählerfreunde app. The Zählerfreunde app is a digital energy management platform for managing energy efficiency, and it systematically tracks and monitors the tenants' data and evaluate the energy consumption accordingly. So the Zählerfreunde company programmed some interfaces for us to the IOmeter sensor, then to the charge cloud, which monitors the EV charging, then to Meteor Control, which monitors the solar system, and also to the energy web platform, which we use for the blockchain integration. Next slide, please. So here you get a quick overview of the user's interface. They can use the application either on the computer or on the app. This is a screenshot from the dashboard on the computer. So they have their meter number and their name on the left, and can see the e-mobility customers can see their charging activities. And then they see the current production of the solar system and also the current electricity consumption. So on the picture, you, for example, see the screenshot from a consumption for half a day last week. I just took a screenshot. So next slide, please. So on the left side, you can see the electricity production during the day, and then on the right, the production of the solar plant. This is also a picture from last week, so there was not so much sun in Berlin last week and at the moment. So yeah, you see there's only a few sunny hours during the day, and the idea is that if the tenants see, like, okay, there's now a lot of solar production, I can now charge my car or turn on my washing machine or use electricity in the households. So that's it so far from my side. This was the last slide. So thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Francisca, for the nice presentation. I have some questions, but I will ask you later in the panel discussion. It was very interesting presentation and this application for the users. So now we move to the second, let's say, part of our webinar, where we will have presentations from BungEES project, the business cases that BungEES projects is developing. So we have with us Mr. Antonio Colino Martinez, who is an industrial engineer and has more than 20 years of experience in the energy sector, where he has worked in Spanish incumbents, consultancy companies, and independent retailers. And he's currently the managing director of Eni Plenitude Iberia, which is one of the leading power and gas retailers in Spain and Portugal. So hello, Antonio. Thank you for being with us, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Katerina. Well, yeah, now together with Fabrice, we will go a little bit over the BungEES project and give you some insight of the activities we're performing there. If we go to the next slide, well, and one more, I understand. So just so you have an idea of a general overview of the project, it's a project where we have 8 different partners from 7 different countries, and it's going to be ongoing for around 3 years, And the main objective is to develop a next generation smart energy service, concept in some way, especially focused on trying to build an integrated offer with a one-stop shop, that integrates all the requirements of a sole customer all together, so that it's much more comprehensive, useful for the end consumer. In this sense, one of the main points is engaging prosumers in the process. So there's a lot of focus on how we engage, how this one-stop shop makes easier the engagement of prosumers and how this develops. So to engage prosumers, the first thing we need to do is define what is a prosumer for us. If we go to the next slide, what is a prosumer? At the end, traditionally, we are understanding a prosumer like somebody that's in his house, relaxed, and suddenly put some panels, and now he's a prosumer, and there's nothing more to it. He just needs to put panels. He can buy them in a website and then has panels, and he's the same person doing exactly the same, yet with some panels in the roof. Well, we understand that prosumers is a little bit more than that. If we go to the next slide, once you put these panels and you become a prosumer, there's a lot of stuff that you need to think about and you have to start managing, because you have your self-production, that's for sure, but then you can decide if you do storage or not, if you're going to have an electric vehicle, if you're going to start giving flexibility to the local system, or you're going to go to the balancing services and give balance to the full network. And even if you're going to do some demand response, participate in energy communities, as we saw in the examples before, sharing energy with neighbors. So there's a lot of things that go together with doing this. It's not just becoming a prosumer is not just for us, putting the rooftop solar plant, but if we go to the next slide, we traditionally define prosumer with a broader view, that it's not producer and consumer, but try to think a prosumer like a professional consumer. It's something more, and this implies that to become a prosumer or a professional consumer, you don't need to be able to put rooftop panels, because not always you're going to do it, but you're going to have to be somebody that is going to be active in it. For sure, there's different layers of this, and not everybody's going to be super dynamic with their consumption, and they're going to need somebody to help them out, because when we ask a consumer, do you want to be efficient? Do you want to consume less energy? Everybody's going to say, yes, I want to be more efficient. Everybody wants to be efficient, but not everybody wants to be an expert in efficiency. Not everybody wants to develop the knowledge to do it. No, this is the same as when you have a a legal issue. No? When you have a legal issue, you go to a lawyer. You don't learn laws. No? So it's something like that. In this sense, is where we develop the concept that is leading the development of the project. That it's in the next slide. That at the end we have developed this flexi smart home concept as a cohesive and full value proposition, where we are able to integrate all the needs of this prosumer, this professional consumer, to develop their energy life. And there you have all the things that are integrated: the rooftop by the community. You have the electric vehicle, house energy storage, everything. And so how we've been doing this, and how we have been developing this concept with two main initiatives within the project. One, by conducting some surveys in the final consumers, understanding what are the needs, how they feel about it, how they understand this. So key point of engagement is listening to the consumer, because sometimes we are in our echo chamber of developing things that we see that are very nice, but we don't always engage completely with the final consumer, and that's important within the project. And then we are developing specific real world tests and projects and pilots to test the things we are saying we can do. If we go to the next, I will get a bit deep in what are the first insights we have been receiving from the different surveys we've been conducted, and that are quite interesting. There's nothing super surprising, but at the end, putting numbers to things, it always gives a lot of insight. And then Fabrice will talk to us about the different pilots we are developing. So within Plenitude Iberia, we have developed a first survey to understand how people feel about this. Do they think it's something useful? Not, if they're interested or so. At the end, we target around 10,000 customers, so 10,000 consumers received the survey. We had an answer ratio of more than 6%, so there's 626. That it might not look like a lot, but if any of you have developed initiatives in the retail sector, having more than a 1% answer of an email of a company, it's a lot. So this gives us also some insight about how people reacted to what we are conducting. In general, as I said, normally we are obtaining between 1-3% of answers when we send other type of emails, and this email concretely had a lot of answers. It was conducted even at the end of last year, beginning of this year, and there was first question, explaining this flexi smart home service, and if they were interested or not. And there we have a lot of interesting insight. At the end, 72% of the people understood that this was something that was interesting, in different levels, but it was interesting. So that says already that there's a lot of interest in this type of things, and looks like something, as I was saying before, people wants to be efficient. Maybe they don't know how, but they want to be part of it. But it was also interesting to see that there's 26% of people that don't see this like something also needed. So I mean, as well as we have a lot of work to do with that 72% of people that are interested, and there's a lot of things to do. Once we finish with that 72, there's still a big chunk of people that not even are interested in this type of things. It's something that we should definitely think about it when we want to complete the full spectrum. Moreover, that this 26% of people, we have to think that this is people that are already in a challenger in the country. So we're not the incumbent in Iberia. So all the people that is with us already has made some kind of decision about changing their energy life or thinking about it from some perspective. And it's interesting that of that block of people that is on our company, of this 10,000 of our company, then only 6% answer. So it's actually the people that read the emails and are a little bit active. And of those, so the most active people you can find in a country, there's still a 25% of people that are not so much interested in nothing that it's too complex, and they prefer not to go over it. So it's just some interesting information there. And if we go to the next slide, we have some about the 72%. So actually, another part of the answer, when you were interested, it was, okay, what are the characteristics of your consumption, and are you thinking that you're interested, but are you going to do anything in the next future about installing this? And here also we find that out of the 72% of people, 34% are definitely or probably willing to adopt. So they are people that is looking, interested in doing this type of things, seeing how they can solve these things, and there's a lot of potential there. No, of course, once we ask the characteristics of this type of people, is people that is more environmentally conscious, more informed about the energy markets, and have a more sustainable energy solution at home. No, with a higher level of spending and have already some appliances and so. But at least we have a big part of early adopters that are already into this, and you have a lot of work to do. You have this 33% that already are thinking to adopt it, another 33% that is interested but doesn't know how, and then, as I said before, you have that 30% or that third of the people that start even a lot of interested on it or doesn't really care at this stage a lot about it. Also, we asked them about not only your character, but what do you see as drivers to do it, or barriers you're feeling there is for you to develop this. And as drivers, I mean, still the main driver for people, it's energy and money savings. So I think a lot of times we should focus a lot when we are developing this type of product, like the Flexi Smart Home, in the benefit that the consumer receives, no, from an economic perspective, no, because then after that they are a lot about respect for the environment, but the environment is always like a second layer. We've seen this a lot through the last years, where we've been having price crisis, going prices very high, and we as retailer we offer normal energy and green energy, and the green energy has a small premium, no, and we've seen like people were not so much willing to pay that premium when the prices are very high, and back again now that the prices are going to, I would not say normal, but new normal, to this new normal market, they're starting to come back to green. So at the end, green is good, but there's a price tag for it, and people don't want to be green at any cost. So energy savings is always one of the things we have to remark here. And then finally, there was another point, the energy storage independence. This is also interesting about how the mind of consumers has evolved, where in the last year they were not so worried about this because they understood energy like something that comes from the state and it's outside and you cannot do nothing about it. But little by little, there's a lot of people even thinking on their being independent of something that they don't manage. So there's the outside, there's a lot of geostrategic issues there with energy. The prices go up and down, and I want to be a little bit independent. I want to have my production, my storage, and don't have to care about the newspaper to see how much I'm going to pay next year. So that's also interesting, no, in the evolvement of the mindset of consumers. And then finally, they have the, what are the barriers they see to do this? So first thing, expected cost. So another point, no, they see savings, but how much is the cost? So again, investment return ratios are quite interesting in the mind of the consumer, and it's something also funny at the end. We have to focus a lot on when we develop this type of products. We have to focus on how we finance them and how is the financing and the cash flow is going to work for how much the consumer is putting up front, how much is receiving little by little. So it's quite important to have that in mind also, no? And don't think only in the technical part of the solution, but also in the financial part of the solution and how this works in the mind. Then it's funny because at the end, a lot of these projects are just having in mind investment of 1,000 euros, 2,000 euros, and at the end, sometimes when we are engaging with consumers, we ask them, look, can you show me your phone? And then the phone they chose is much more expensive than the solar panels they could put in the roof. But at the end, they decide for another type of things, cars or phones that for energy is economic, no? And then the other two main issues, implementation difficulties. So in the end, it's a mess for them to think in all the things that are going to happen and it's never a good moment to do this type of things in your house. And for sure, all of you have confronted renovations in your home, and it's never a good moment, no, for you. And then they have the issue of that it's not always suitable for the type of housing. So there's people that are willing to do this, but they don't ever not find always the solution. And well, that from my side. If we go to the next slide, just introducing what Fabrice is gonna speak about the pilots, the real sites where we're developing this concept. And I just give the floor back to Caterina and to Fabrice. So thank you very much. We can go to the next slide and waiting for the panel discussion.
Thank you very much, Antonio, for the presentation. And at least for me, it was really interesting to see how the consumers feel for something that is new. So always the surveys give us some insights on where to go, how to organize our tasks, how to do our developments in order to because all these are done for the consumers and for the energy efficiency in general, and needs to be user friendly. So thanks, and let's move on directly to Fabrice Soriot. Fabrice is working as a Chief Technology Officer at Voltalis and is dedicated to driving the international growth of the leading energy company. He has experience in the energy sector and has successfully managed the implementation of large-scale complex industrial projects across multiple countries and continents. Fabrice, you can go on with your presentation. Thanks for being here.
Yes, thank you, Caterina. Good morning, everybody from Paris. So I'm Fabrice Soriot. I'm here talking about Voltalis. Thank you also, Antonio, for introducing the BungEES project and objectives and what we have developed there. So we'll continue with presenting you a little bit more detail on implemented activities. So we have in the BungEES project, we implemented pilots in several countries in Europe, namely Czech Republic, France, Portugal, Slovakia, and Spain. And as it was presented even earlier, the really purpose of these pilots activities is to test the solutions we have developed, to test them on site in real, to see what works, what are the barriers and constraints. And also the other aspect is really to get feedback from the user, from the end user. And this will feedback the loop of the design of the new solutions we are presenting and developing during this project. So here we are really closing the loop of the design for these new services. In next page, I will can go to the next page, please. And okay, so this is an example of the solution we have developed and provided and implemented during the pilots. So the Voltalis technologies allows smart energy management that has been already presented earlier with even through the other project. And one specificity here is the capacity to address and to convert legacy appliances into Internet of Things. And so from the picture, you can see that inside the house, people there already have a lot of appliances and services available. The idea is to not change everything. We don't want to ask everybody to change everything in the house and buy new appliances and new technologies. So the idea is just to add the connection. So it's physically, the shape is small box that we will come and physically connect and wire to legacy appliances. They can be radiators, heat pumps, water boiler, and you name them. And this will allow to transfer the dumb appliance into, let's say, Internet of Things and really connected services. This is the lightest solution we found to implement in the pilots to be able to get data and bring new services to end user. And it's really, well, the aim was to address the barriers that Antonio, you mentioned just a few minutes earlier. The barriers being like the implementation issue. We have developed a very light and easy to implement solution, something that don't have to change everything inside your house. And even the process for installation for a full apartment or house is done in less than 2 hours. So the impact on the tenant life and comfort there is very reduced and it's very, very low. Also, as mentioned, we focused to be able to address legacy appliances, any age or type, and this is again to address the barrier you mentioned, Antonio, on the to find a solution that will be suitable for all types of housing, or at least most of them. Then, thanks to this connection, as it was presented, the idea to give the service back to the tenant, that all the data and control of the equipment is then available on an app on the phone. So it will be very easy for the tenant to be able to just stay laying in the sofa and enjoying the new services that we want to provide here. So this is on the really pilot side, on the end users side of the project. If we go to the next page. Yes, thank you. So this is the view of the the rest of the project. So on the left side of the page, you see the houses or flats, and on the right side of the page, you can see it is a service that is needed from the grid. It's a flexibility, so it's really you can see in the middle there is peak shaving where there is too much of demand in electricity. The green is really willing to have reduction of the demand of electricity, and this is the really core idea of being aggregator of micro flexibility. The grid will need megawatts or gigawatts of electricity and or gigawatts hour, and if you look back to the households, you can only provide a small amount of volume of energy, kilowatts or kilowatt hour. And here the idea is really to gather all these efforts that every house or tenant could make and bringing them all together. That will provide a big service and a big support to the grid. And this is how we can transpose and increase the services from tenant and houses to community and up to the even to the whole electricity system. And you can go to the next page. This will present so next page is the some examples of services we have implemented in this very pilots and project, because the idea was not to come with only one piece of service, but to gather and to bundle services. So on the tenant side, you have an increase on comfort because we bring new services into the house and the building. This also, as it was presented even in other projects, a very tangible effect is the reduction of the electric bill, because thanks to the smart energy management, only from your phone, you can control your energy consumption in your house, like scheduling the times you want some heat or cooling, and to stop it when you will not be really needing it. So this is from the end user side. If we go to the other end of the spectrum, on the grid side, thanks to aggregation, this service can generate to the grid an increase of the strength of the grid. It also, in short term and medium term, it will reduce the investment cost, because the idea is really to reduce energy demand when it's needed and where it is needed, not to have too much congestion, and to save the system in terms of electricity transport and transmission. And also in the middle, we have some benefits for the community, which are, for example, energy savings. This comes from the end user side. By smart energy management, of course, you will reduce, you reduce your energy consumption, and reduction of CO2 emission. This comes not only from the reduction of energy, but like when the grid is calling for peak shavings, when there is really too much of demand, of course, when the photovoltaics or the wind energy is not sufficient, you will have to turn on plants with gas or coal plants, which are very highly CO2 high CO2 emissions. And thanks to the flexibility, this is really this time when you will reduce the demand a little bit, and that will allow you not to turn on this CO2 emitting plants. And also this flexibility overall will bring a reduction of the cost of electricity, cost of production, of transmission. This will be a benefit for all users, not only the people engaged in and playing in the flexibility services, but for the price of electricity will reduce, and that will be a benefit for really the whole community. If we can go to the next page. Conclusion on the smart energy efficiency services. So this example shows that it can address legacy appliances together with new technology, and it provides several benefits. Benefits on building energy savings, thanks to improved energy management, and this has been measured to be really the 15% energy savings is minimum to be a target or achievable. Other benefits is flexibility for the grid. This would increase strength and reduce investment cost. Other benefits are the non-energy benefits for the end users. Of course, as we've seen, it brings comfort, health, mobility, security, and you name them. Other benefit is the reduction of CO2 emission and an increasing circularity of the clean energy transition. Thank you. That's it for this specific example of project. That's it on my side.
Thank you very much, Fabrice, for the presentation, for your analytical explanations on the topic. Now we can start discussing a little bit about what have been presented. First of all, I would like to ask the attendees if they would like to pose any question. Feel free to ask and have a fruitful discussion. I see that Stratos has put 2 questions in the chat. I can ask for, or Stratos, you can ask directly, Antonio and Fabrice. I don't know if Stratos,
Yes,
can you
can you
hear?
hear me now?
Yes, now we can.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
So Antonio, a very basic question. So is FlexiSmart already a product that is available in the market and offered by any, or is it still a concept?
Okay, so yeah, quick answer is no. It's not still a project because it's a concept that's been developed during the project. Of course, when you're speaking about consumer, one thing is the technical proposition, and then the value proposition includes also all the marketing or what you're doing. So at the end, there's a lot of piece of bits that we already do in Plenitud Iberia. So we do charging points, we do self-consumption, we are developing smart heat pumps with Voltali. So we do have all the pieces, no? What we and some of the customers have them together or not, no? And even maintenance services, no, and things like that. But we have not developed the concept as one integrated offer. And this, I think, it's what we are learning throughout BungEES, and it's going to be part of our exploitation plan within the development of the project. That is one of the parts that is very interesting of having utilities within the projects that then they can give some continuity in an exploitation plan with the concept that are developing in the project, no? So not yet is the answer.
Yeah, and if I may add an answer is yes, as Antonio said, the full bundle of services is not yet available at one point, one-stop shop. But what we have achieved already, and thanks to the pilots, we have demonstrated that we have already bundled some of these services together, and we have shown that yet it's possible, and some of them are already available in terms of sub bundles of services, like we've shown. You can address home services and together with flexibility and EV charging. Okay, so there are already some bundles available, and another part of the answer is they are not available at the same stage already in every countries. But yes, there are already some bundles of services available.
Great, thank you. So for us, it's very interesting to see that we work on more or less on the same domains and also on tightly connected projects. So we would be eager to exchange offline on these topics.
For sure.
And I also had a question for you, Fabrice. So how do you quantify the savings? So what is the baseline that you actually compare against?
Yes, that's a very good question, and it's a very the answer is not so obvious, as you have given already some insight from your project. It needs a lot. It's not an easy answer, and as you mentioned, the way to be able to build a model for measuring these savings really needs computing power, know-how, and on top of that, it's really to have a very big or huge amount of users, so from which you can learn average behavior or typical behavior to be able to build the model. So it's to achieve that, it's really to have a big number of measurement point or users, and which we at Voltalis we have achieved because we now have more than 250,000 customer in France, which is our biggest country in terms of operation. And it's really you need, I mean, when you start to have a big number of users, it really helps to be able to understand and build calculation methods for savings.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other question from the audience or from the panelists? I have a general question, basically, because I know that both projects are running for quite a couple of years, 1 to 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. And now that you have a very good picture of what are the needs, what are the challenges, I would like basically to ask you what challenges you have identified through your cases by now. What are your strategies, to try, to address those challenges? What are your plans? And if those business cases are applicable to other countries, let's say, or other sectors. So I don't know who would like to start. Maybe Francesca, you can start.
Yeah, thank you, Katerina, for the question. Well, the main challenges in our case are that we only have a few number of participants. It's 20 people, and some of them are already a little bit older, like 60 or 70 years. So for them, using the app, there may be some technical issues. So we really have to accompany them closely and offer them assistance so that they use the app and also like try to change their behavior. As some of them are a little bit older, we hope that they are also at home during the daytime and then, may use more electricity during the day. But the people who are going to work, leave their houses, don't have the possibility to change their electricity using behavior at home or like charge their cars if they are left with a car. So it will be interesting if our idea of changing the behavior of the tenants will work. Also, due to a delay in our timeline, we just started now with the data collection in October, November, and there is like very little sunshine hours. So we really have to get back to our tenants in like May or June and hope that then when there are the sunny days in Germany, we also can see some changes in their behavior then. So the other question I think was if it will be if we can
applicable, replicable.
Hopefully it will. The thing is that we now within the project like paid for the app and for the digital sensors, and in Germany at the moment we are very slow with the smart meter rollout. So most of the houses only have like normal electricity counters and don't have get an idea about the electricity consumption. So I think there have to be installed digital sensors like we did that they can monitor their behavior, and there are costs coming up. So who will pay for it? And there are some questions we still need to address.
I would add also one of the things we have been seeing when we develop this type of concept is that as a main barrier still is that so one thing is what we want to do, and another is what we're able because of the regulation. So there's still a lot of regulatory barriers because when we ask the consumers, as we saw, they are saying, look, what are the savings I'm going to have? And we always have to say, well, depends on a lot of things that don't have to do with the technical issue, but with the regulation framework. And when we're speaking about something that's going to give flexibility, that can be able to participate in balancing services and this type of things, there's a lot of things that are still uncertain, no? And the development in different countries, no, also answering to your question, the development in different countries is different, no? So they're at a different stage. Good thing within Europe, we are all within the same internal market directive. So eventually, any product will be able to be translated to other countries because we are going to have a similar framework, but still the adoption of these directives in different countries is different. Member states have different development. So for example, in Spain, a lot of things about flexibility are not done. So now when we're showing savings to consumers, we're showing them savings against just the profile of the market. No? So expensive hours and cheap hours, but they're not able to monetize flexibility. That's the main change that will come. So now we're having to convince people just by reducing costs, not by creating a revenue stream directly because they are participating actively in the market. So that's a barrier that we have, and we have to make always a leap of faith with consumers, telling them, look, don't worry, but in some years you're going to start making money, don't worry. So early adopters are very important. But as in anything in the world, the technical, technical part always goes before the regulation. So and we see this in anything. No? Regulation always comes late because it's a consequence of something that occurs. No? And there we're in this point where we are still developing technology that it's difficult to assure how much is going to be the monetization for the consumer because we still don't have clear the framework. So that visibility is one of the main takeaways that we have, no?
Yes, Stratos, if you want to add something.
Yes. I also agree with what Antonio mentioned. In our case, we also have we experienced this gap between very, let's say, tech-savvy users and the average user. So there are people that are interested in every detail. They know how to manage their device even better than us. And we also have the average user that they rarely use the app. They prefer to use the thermostat. They want to rely on an automated algorithm that does everything, and they don't even provide their input. So they don't, let's say, adjust the operation of the device to their needs. So I think that this barrier is very important for us, let's say the energy literacy of end consumers.
At this point of Stratos is very important. No? This is one of the things that where we know as part of the energy community and specifically companies like us that we are utilities, and so we are like that last mile to the consumer of all the sectors. So you have producers, you have the market, the system operator, directives, and everything comes, all that complexity and comes to a monthly invoice to the final consumer. No? And that invoice translates all the complexity of the sector into one number, no? That it's 22.5 euros. No? And there's where we have that responsibility, because at the end is the point that I was saying before with the surveys, and that Stratos was saying that consumers, a lot of them want to be efficient. I mean, if you ask also, even because of virtual signaling, saying, look, do you want to be good or bad? No, you want to efficient or no? They all want to, but they don't want to be experts, and they don't want to have to study, and they want an automatic algorithm to do things. So that's the responsibility we have, because we have a crop growing, and we need to be the ones that are able to translate all this complexity into this type of products, like this Flexi Smart Home. There's something easy to understand. It's cool and it's interesting. We give the finance, we give the, and then the final consumer is able to engage with something in a way that he doesn't really need to do a lot of things. Of course, you're going to have the two types, no? The early adopters that are going to love it, and as Tato says, no, sometimes you go to explain something to somebody and he knows much better than you what he wanted, and sometimes they don't even care. So you have to have that flexibility to be able to cover all the spectrum, and we do have that responsibility of taking care of translating all these things. So demand response, flexibility, balancing services, all this has to be translated into easy products for the final consumers, no?
Yeah, thank you. I don't know if you want anything else to add, since we have two questions from the audience. The first one is from Ioanna Andreoulaki, a question for Stratos and Francesca. Could you give some examples of how the integration of energy services is enabled through the InEExS approach? Are those innovative services easily accepted, adopted by the end users, or do you face any challenges? I think that I don't know, who of you would like to answer? Stratos, yes?
I could go for the first one. So for the integration of energy services. So this is a very integral part of InEExS. So we wanted to build a platform that is, let's say, adaptive and modular, let's say, to different business cases. So in order to be able to do this high level of integration, we thought of, let's say, to start doing this already within the business cases. So we have the example of business case 3, where we offer the same energy service for smart heating in two different energy vectors, totally different energy vectors. So natural gas and electricity. So the level of integration is highlighted because we have a common data reporting schema. So all the data that are collected from the two different vectors are represented in one, let's say, set of parameters. And this can be translated into common KPIs. So we monitor the performance improvement, the achieved energy savings, the cost reduction from devices that are totally different. So this is highlighted in one business case. So if we try to move a step further to showcase the integration across business cases, we have the example of business case 3 and business case 4. So we could blend, let's say, the offerings of smart heating and smart charging through let's say, through a common data reporting service. So let's consider an energy supplier, a vertical one that provides both natural gas and electricity. They could use the same reporting service that collects data from the blockchain platform, and they could verify the amount of steered energy or saved energy through a common set of algorithms or even a common dashboard. So this could not be achieved if we didn't have a common, let's say, system in the background, a common background service. And finally, another example, let's say, could be highlighted between the first two business cases. So both of them focus on improving the self-consumption for end consumers. The one is focusing on improving the benefit for their members. So this is the case of Enercoop because it's an energy community. And the second one is related with Bea and Charlotte. So these are, let's say, these are operating towards lowering their operational costs. So they can make more profit if they directly provide PV produced energy to their consumers rather than getting it from the grid. So they are totally they are similar in terms of infrastructure, totally different in terms of what they need to report or calculate. So by using the same system, they can calculate different metrics that are important to improve the performance of their services. So we have a high level of integration between and across business cases in InEExS.
Thanks, Stratos. For the second question, I think that this is applicable to all. If the services are easily accepted, because the success of those applications depends heavily, as we said, on the consumer behavior and the adoption. And I would like also to complement and ask if you have any, strategies to deploy in order to educate consumer on the use and the benefits of those applications, or if you have developed within the framework of your project some training programs, capacity building activities, in order, to minimize the technical complexity and to address this lack of awareness and to improve this user engagement. I don't know, Francesca?
Yeah, Yeah, as I already explained in the beginning, we have some participants who are a little bit older. So yeah, we really try to educate them well how to use the app and use the benefits of the app. And we had a workshop with them in May and introduced like all the technical parts. And we will have another workshop now in December, and want to ask if like they understood everything, if they need some technical assistance. And but still we then don't know if they really use the app like how we want it. So I actually really liked what Antonio explained, that they did a survey. So I just was asking myself if we also, like after like a few months, we will do a survey and ask them about their if they're happy with the app, if they use it, if they have any benefits of it, because so far we cannot benefit them with a better tariff for the use of PV energy. Now we can just like incentive that they maybe use less energy and like monitor their behavior. But yeah, we only can, we will only give recommendations for flexible tariffs in the future. So we don't know yet if BEA will apply it. So there is not a real like financial incentive for the participants yet, but they will get a little reward for participating in the project. So yeah, they will get a little present at the end. So we hope that this is enough, that they really use the app and may change their behavior.
Thanks, Francesca. Antonio or Fabrice?
Well, no, this is a key challenge of all these things is because probably also what we might experience is that in the first months, they're going to use it a lot while we are in the project pushing them and moving things. But this engagement comes down like with everything, no? And when we're speaking about the app world and this type of things, there's a lot about a lot of energy at the beginning, and then it's difficult to maintain engagement during time, no? And make value out of this. That's why it's so important also to not only have the cost reduction perspective, but as much monetization the customer can do by managing energy and this type of things, where he's going to be more engaged, no? Because he's going to see a return on his effort. If it's just because out of curiosity and testing, but he's making 0.1 euros, 1 euro, or this type is where it becomes difficult. So the engagement is of course an ongoing issue, for every type of initiative.
Yes, thank you. Exactly, Antonio. If I may add on this one, it's really clear that the time the people will spend on this question might lower with as the time flows. And another service really that we tried to after what we have seen from the customers, another service we try to provide is to have more automation in the service, and this is even providing like energy savings without any action from the customer, which of course needs much more technology, but this is something that the people will be very happy with, whatever their level of engagement with the technology. But if we can provide, let's say, energy savings into the house, and just at the end of the month or the year, provide the volume of savings that the people have been access to thanks to the technology, this is something that is seems to be very powerful. And we have implemented this, and if it can work, we know it will last for longer, and whatever the customer habits or engagement. So this is also something to contemplate, and that we have started to try to implement.
Thanks. Thank you all for your answers. And we have two questions from the participants. So the first one by Stefano Fava: which role can play standardization to unlock flexibility potential by end users, residential users? Who wants to answer?
think the standardization, as much as possible, is always going to be good for specifically the point we were first for easiness of development. It's clear if there's a standard, it's always easier, and then also for this engagement phase, because at the end, if every time you engage with something is something completely different now, then it's more difficult to build over the legacy that you have in your house, and you have to change the app every time something comes new or this type of thing. So as long as there is a good standardization, so it's not a biased way, I think it's good for the end consumer to have like the official ecosystem of things, of connections, and that is going to allow scalability and interoperability between all the things. So I think that's something that has to be worked around. It's something that is already, the European Commission is a lot into interoperability, and there's been a smart grid task force dedicated specifically for this interoperability, also between countries, and so all the data sets of all the countries and all the data hubs we're building are more or less the same, so they can share knowledge. And I think it's one of the challenges as a society in general we have of too much non-standardization of a lot of initiatives, and little by little they have to converge, in some way, as we did now with USB-C, Okay, suddenly we have something that it's everywhere, and then our life is a little bit easier, to connect stuff.
Thanks, Antonio. And since we have 5 minutes left, I think that we can conclude with the last question: how InEExS is managing the service contracting for multiple services in case if multiple providers and infrastructure required in service conduct. It's for Stratos or Francesca.
I could go for it if you prefer, Francisca. Yeah. So for the moment, we do service contracting for independent energy services. So in the case of business case 3, we offer one service, we develop one contract around it, and it's signed between the all engaged stakeholders. So the energy supplier, the technology developer, us, Domex, and also the end user that is joining, let's say, this agreement. If we would like to, let's say, augment the offering by adding an additional service, we would still need to do it independently, so the service contracting part. But the aim is to come up with a joint solution, let's say, as an overall aim of the project. So if an end consumer wants to join 2 services simultaneously, it would be ideal to be able to sign, let's say, a joint agreement between all engaged parties and not independent contracts.
Okay. Thank you very much, Stratos. I don't know if anyone wants to add something or comment on anything. Otherwise, I can make a wrap up, and thank you all very much for being here today. I would like also to mention that both projects are part of the Smart Energy Cluster, which is an initiative of the InEExS project, and it's a collaborative effort of more than 20 EU projects, Life and Horizon. And we're trying to merge diverse energy services, incorporate non-energy benefits, and address market barriers by fostering cooperation among those projects. So you can find us in our website. Yes, Roberta, you're in my mind. So thank you very much for being here, and we will share with you the presentations, and we will share also the video on YouTube. So follow us in social media, and you will be the first that will learn the developments of the projects. Have a nice day. Thank you all, and goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good day.
Bye bye.